What transforms an ordinary pizzeria into a crime scene? How does a slice of someone's life's work become their final meal? In South Los Angeles, a seemingly natural death would unravel into one of the most chilling cases of premeditated murder the city had ever witnessed. On June 17, 2010, as the evening dinner rush buzzed with its usual energy at Green Gourmet Pies, fate served up its cruelest dish. The establishment's beloved owner and master chef, Terry Green, collapsed suddenly during his shift. What initially appeared to be a tragic case of cardiac arrest would soon expose a sinister plot simmering beneath the surface of this neighborhood gem. Welcome to True Crime Stories Archive, your gateway to the chilling world of real-life horror. Here, we delve into the darkest corners of humanity, unearthing terrifying stories of true crime that will leave you sleeping with the lights on. If you're fascinated by the intricate web of human psychology, crime, and justice, make sure to subscribe to our channel and join our community of true crime enthusiasts. The story of Terry Green begins not in Los Angeles, but in the bustling streets of the Bronx. Born to Italian immigrant parents who carried their culinary heritage across the Atlantic, Terry absorbed the essence of authentic Italian cooking from his earliest days. His grandmother's treasured pizza recipes weren't merely instructions, they were his inheritance, a legacy written in flour and sauce that would eventually lead him west with nothing but $5,000 in savings and an unwavering dream. The year 2000 marked Terry's bold leap into the unknown. At just 25 years old, he left behind the familiar comfort of New York's Italian-American community to forge his own path in Los Angeles. His target? A struggling corner pizzeria at 4234 Western Avenue that most would have dismissed as a lost cause. But where others saw failure, Terry envisioned possibility. Through an almost magical combination of culinary expertise and sheer determination, Terry began transforming this modest establishment into something extraordinary. His dedication to craftsmanship manifested in every aspect of the business, from the carefully selected ingredients to the meticulously maintained wood-fired ovens. But it was his signature creation, the Sunset Supreme Pizza, that would become his crowning achievement and, tragically, play a role in his demise. This Sunset Supreme Pizza wasn't just another item on the menu, it was an artistic masterpiece that captured the essence of Terry's culinary philosophy. The harmonious blend of caramelized onions and smoked mozzarella, crowned with his closely guarded secret sauce recipe, transformed a simple pizza into an experience that drew customers from every corner of Los Angeles. Under Terry's masterful guidance, Green Gourmet Pies evolved into a neighborhood institution, generating an annual revenue of $400,000. Modest by industry standards, but sufficient to support a team of 5 dedicated employees and provide Terry with a comfortable living. By 2009, Terry's professional success painted a portrait of the American dream realized. His establishment had earned glowing features in local newspapers, and his reputation for exceptional quality and warm hospitality had cultivated a fiercely loyal customer base. However, fate was about to introduce a character who would dramatically alter the course of Terry's story. Enter Monique Baker, a 34-year-old former runway model whose path would fatefully intersect with Terry's at a catering event. Her presence was magnetic, tall, graceful, and carrying the sophisticated air of someone who had graced fashion runways in New York and Paris. Yet beneath the glamorous facade lay a complex web of deception that would only become apparent when it was too late. Monique's modeling career had allegedly ended in 2008 due to a knee injury, though this would later prove to be just one of many carefully crafted fabrications. The reality, as investigations would reveal, was far less glamorous. She had been dismissed by her agency due to unprofessional conduct and substance abuse issues. The whirlwind romance that ensued between Terry and Monique raised eyebrows among his close friends and family. Their courtship moved at a dizzying pace, culminating in marriage just 6 months after their initial meeting. While Terry saw their rapid union as a testament to true love, those closest to him harbored growing concerns about Monique's true intentions. The contrast between Terry's humble, hard-working nature and Monique's extravagant lifestyle preferences became apparent almost immediately after their marriage. Bank statements would later reveal the staggering scope of her spending habits, monthly credit card charges averaging $12,000 for designer clothing, lavish spa treatments, and social events that far exceeded the pizzeria's modest profits. Terry, eternally optimistic and deeply in love, responded to these financial pressures the only way he knew how: by working longer hours. His days began to stretch from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., 6 days a week, as he struggled to maintain the delicate balance between his wife's expensive tastes and the pizzeria's financial reality. Yet while Terry labored tirelessly to support their lifestyle, a dark subplot was unfolding without his knowledge. Unknown to him, Monique had rekindled a connection with someone from the murkier side of Los Angeles nightlife: Darius Dre Carter, the 38-year-old owner of the Velvet Lounge on Sunset Strip. Carter was far from an upstanding businessman. His record was marked by 3 prior arrests for fraud in 1995, suspected drug trafficking in 2000, and illegal gambling operations in 2005. Though he had managed to evade conviction on major charges, his connections to organized crime figures in Los Angeles were well documented. The Velvet Lounge, which opened its doors in 2007, presented itself as an upscale nightclub, but beneath its glossy exterior lay a web of suspicious financial activities suggesting money laundering operations. Security footage from the establishment would later reveal a pattern of regular visits by Monique beginning in January 2010, just 3 months before the tragic events that would unfold at Green Gourmet Pies. As winter turned to spring in 2010, Monique set in motion a series of calculated moves that would ultimately lead to Terry's death. On March 15, she approached Terry with what seemed like a prudent suggestion: the purchase of a $100,000 life insurance policy. Her reasoning appeared sound on the surface: concerns about the pizzeria's future and their financial security. The policy, issued by Pacific Life Insurance, included a double indemnity clause for accidental death, a detail that would later take on sinister significance. Terry, whose trust in his wife's business acumen matched his devotion to her, agreed without hesitation. This decision, made with characteristic optimism and faith in his marriage, would prove to be fatally misplaced. The final act of this tragedy began to unfold on June 17, 2010. The evening started like any other at Green Gourmet Pies, with the familiar bustle of the dinner rush filling the restaurant. At approximately 6:45 p.m., as busy as ever with preparing orders in his beloved kitchen, Terry suddenly collapsed. Despite the immediate response of staff and customers with medical training, and paramedics arriving within 12 minutes, Terry was pronounced dead at the scene at 7:23 p.m. The initial response team attributed Terry's death to cardiac arrest, noting no obvious signs of foul play. However, this preliminary conclusion would soon be challenged by a series of suspicious events that began to unfold almost immediately after Terry's death. Just 48 hours after losing her husband, Monique Green walked into the Pacific Life Insurance office on Wilshire Boulevard. Her demeanor during this visit would later become a crucial point of interest in the investigation. Michael Donovan, a seasoned insurance agent with 3 decades of experience, immediately noticed several red flags. The policy's recent purchase date, Terry's young age, and perhaps most tellingly, Monique's oddly composed demeanor raised immediate concerns. Rather than displaying the expected grief of a newly widowed spouse, Monique appeared more preoccupied with the processing time of the claim. Following standard protocol for suspicious claims, Donovan reached out to the LAPD's Homicide Division. The case landed on the desk of Detective Camille Harris, a 42-year-old investigator whose impressive 92% case closure rate over her 15-year career had earned her a reputation for unraveling complex cases. As Detective Harris began peeling back the layers of this seemingly straightforward death, troubling inconsistencies emerged. The preliminary medical report presented a puzzle. There were no obvious signs of trauma or pre-existing medical conditions that could explain sudden cardiac arrest in an otherwise healthy 35-year-old man. Harris's first round of interviews at Green Gourmet Pies yielded crucial testimony from Jasmine Taylor, the 29-year-old sous chef who had worked alongside Terry for 5 years. Taylor's account of Terry's final day painted a picture of business as usual. He had arrived at his customary time of 6 a.m. to prepare the day's dough and sauce. Following his daily quality control routine, Terry had sampled a slice of his signature Sunset Supreme pizza approximately 15 minutes before his collapse. However, Taylor's testimony included a detail that would prove pivotal to the investigation: Monique Green's unexpected appearance at the pizzeria that afternoon. This was particularly noteworthy because, as Taylor explained, Monique rarely visited the establishment, typically complaining that the smell of pizza grease would ruin her designer clothing. Taylor's observations of Monique's behavior that afternoon would later become crucial evidence. She had spent approximately 15 minutes in the kitchen area, particularly near the prep station, claiming she was leaving a surprise gift for Terry. Her movements appeared nervous and calculated, constantly glancing over her shoulder, behavior that seemed odd at the time but would take on a sinister significance as the investigation progressed. The investigation took a dramatic turn when Dr. Robert Chan, the Los Angeles County Chief Medical Examiner, delivered his toxicology report. The findings sent shockwaves through the investigation team. Lethal levels of ricin were discovered in Terry's blood and tissue samples. Ricin, a highly toxic substance derived from castor beans, causes rapid cell death and typically results in fatal respiratory and organ failure within 36 to 72 hours of exposure. The discovery of the poison was itself a matter of fortunate circumstance. An observant laboratory technician, James Morton, noticed unusual cellular deterioration patterns while conducting routine tests. Without his careful attention to detail, the standard toxicology panel would not have detected the ricin. Dr. Chan's detailed report revealed that the poison had been professionally processed, suggesting the perpetrator either possessed knowledge of chemical extraction methods or had access to someone with such expertise. The concentration of ricin in Terry's system indicated ingestion approximately 1 to 2 hours before death, aligning perfectly with the timeline of his final pizza tasting. This revelation transformed what had appeared to be a tragic natural death into a carefully orchestrated murder. Detective Harris immediately reclassified the case as a homicide investigation. The crime scene at Green Gourmet Pies was secured once again, and comprehensive forensic analysis of the kitchen area began. The department also placed a hold on the insurance claim pending further investigation. Forensic teams meticulously collected samples from all food preparation surfaces, ingredients, and cooking implements in the pizzeria kitchen. The discovery of ricin poisoning significantly altered the scope of the investigation. Given ricin's classification as a potential bioterrorism agent, Harris requested assistance from the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. The careful planning required to obtain and administer the poison suggested this was no crime of passion, but rather a meticulously premeditated murder. The FBI's involvement brought substantial additional resources, including specialists in toxicology and chemical weapons. The case became the LAPD's highest priority, with Detective Harris assembling a specialized task force comprising forensic specialists, financial analysts, and surveillance experts. The team began conducting exhaustive background checks on everyone with kitchen access, with particular attention paid to financial records and recent suspicious activities. Harris also ordered a comprehensive review of surveillance footage from neighboring businesses and traffic cameras to construct a complete timeline of movements around the pizzeria on the day of Terry's death. Initial interviews with pizzeria staff and regular customers consistently portrayed Terry as a beloved business owner with no known enemies. However, Detective Harris's keen eye noted something troubling about Monique's behavior during her interview. Her responses seemed rehearsed, carefully calculated to present the image of a grieving widow. The investigation's focus sharpened when analysis of surveillance footage from businesses surrounding the Velvet Lounge revealed a pattern of frequent visits by Monique between January and June 2010, with notably increased frequency in the weeks leading up to Terry's death. The nightclub's owner, Darius Dre Carter, became a person of interest due to his extensive criminal background and known associations with organized crime figures in Los Angeles. Financial analysis provided a crucial breakthrough. Investigators discovered a $2,000 withdrawal from Monique's joint account with Terry on June 15, just 2 days before his death. Pause. Before we continue with this story, allow me to share something important with you. Looking at our channel analytics, it's clear that many of you watching our true crime stories are not yet subscribed. In fact, about 85% of our viewers haven't hit that subscribe button. If you're finding value in our content and want to support what we do, please take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps us continue bringing you these meticulously researched true crime stories, and ensures you won't miss any future uploads. Now, let's get back to our story. This same amount was traced to a deposit made into the Velvet Lounge's business account the following day. When questioned about this transaction, Carter initially claimed it was payment for a private event booking, but no corresponding event could be found in the club's records. Surveillance footage from the Velvet Lounge's security cameras, obtained through a warrant, revealed frequent intimate meetings between Monique and Carter in his private office. A particularly significant recording from June 10 showed a 45-minute meeting where both appeared engaged in intense discussion, with Monique passing Carter an envelope. While lip-reading experts from the FBI analyzed the footage, most of the conversation proved indecipherable due to camera angles. During separate interviews, both suspects maintained their innocence, though their stories began showing cracks under pressure. Monique, interviewed at LAPD Central Division, clung to her role as a grieving widow, claiming her visits to the Velvet Lounge were merely social efforts to establish herself in Los Angeles's entertainment industry. When confronted with surveillance footage and financial transactions, she insisted the money transfers were for legitimate business purposes, though she failed to provide specific details. Carter's interview, conducted at his nightclub, revealed telling inconsistencies. He initially denied any relationship with Monique beyond casual acquaintance, claiming she was simply a regular patron. However, when presented with evidence of their meetings and financial transactions, his demeanor shifted noticeably, and he immediately requested legal representation. The investigation uncovered deeper financial connections. Bank records revealed a pattern of regular cash deposits to Carter's personal account, ranging from $500 to $1,500, coinciding with Monique's visits to the club. Local law enforcement intelligence suggested the Velvet Lounge served as a front for various illegal activities, with confidential informants reporting regular drug transactions and high-stakes gambling operations in the club's VIP areas. These activities provided Carter with connections to individuals capable of obtaining illegal substances, potentially including the ricin used in Terry's murder. Carter's own financial difficulties came to light. Tax records showed the Velvet Lounge's legitimate income had decreased by 40% in the previous year, while Carter maintained an expensive lifestyle including a Beverly Hills mansion and multiple luxury vehicles. This financial pressure suggested a possible motive for involvement in Terry's murder, with the insurance payout as a potential solution to his monetary problems. The investigation took a significant turn when Detective Harris traced the source of the ricin to Natural Oils and Herbs Supply, a wholesale supplier located in Vernon, an industrial area on the outskirts of Los Angeles. Company records showed a purchase of 5 pounds of castor beans on March 15 by someone using the name Sarah Johnson, who presented seemingly legitimate documentation for a cosmetics manufacturing business. Surveillance footage from the supplier's security system exposed a crucial deception. The purchaser was actually Monique Green, dressed uncharacteristically in jeans, a baseball cap, and sunglasses. The footage captured her arriving in a rented Honda Civic rather than her usual Mercedes-Benz, suggesting careful planning to conceal her identity. The rental car was traced to an agency in Glendale, where Monique had used false identification and paid in cash. Ramon Hernandez, the supplier's owner, provided detailed testimony about the transaction. The buyer had displayed considerable knowledge about castor oil production and its use in cosmetics, presenting forged business licenses and manufacturing permits that investigators would later discover were purchased on the dark web for $3,000. Detective Harris's investigation of Monique's movements on June 17 revealed carefully constructed but ultimately flawed alibi. While Monique claimed to be shopping at various Beverly Hills boutiques between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m., security footage from these locations showed no trace of her presence. Instead, cell phone tower data placed her phone near Green Gourmet Pies at approximately 5:15 p.m. Phone records revealed 6 calls between Monique and Darius Carter between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. that day, with the final call lasting 12 minutes occurring just before Monique's appearance at the pizzeria. When questioned about these calls, both provided contradictory explanations. Monique claimed they discussed event planning while Carter maintained they spoke about club promotions. Jasmine Taylor's supplementary testimony proved crucial in establishing the method of poisoning. She recalled Monique entering the kitchen at 5:15 p.m. carrying a Victoria's Secret shopping bag, claiming she had bought Terry a surprise gift. Taylor observed Monique spending at least 10 minutes near the prep station where the pizza dough was kept, noting her unusually nervous behavior and constant surveillance of her surroundings. Forensic analysis of the prep station area following the ricin discovery revealed trace amounts of the toxin in a dough mixing bowl. Investigators determined that the poison had been strategically introduced into a specific batch of dough used for the Sunset Supreme Pizza, the very dish Terry personally taste-tested every evening before the dinner rush. Additional evidence emerged when security footage from a Shell gas station on Florence Avenue showed Monique purchasing latex gloves and a small plastic container at 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder. These items were later discovered in her car's trunk, with the container testing positive for ricin residue, and the gloves revealing traces of both ricin and pizza dough. A search of Monique's laptop, seized during the investigation, uncovered deleted browser history showing extensive research on ricin extraction methods and lethal dosages dating back to February, indicating long-term planning. The laptop also contained encrypted communications with an unknown individual discussing methods of poison extraction. Detective Harris compiled a comprehensive timeline demonstrating how Monique had methodically planned the murder over several months, researching the poison, acquiring materials under false pretenses, choosing the method of delivery, and selecting the precise moment for maximum effectiveness. The evidence painted a picture of a premeditated murder that relied on intimate knowledge of Terry's routines and habits. The breakthrough in the case came during Detective Harris's third interview with Darius Carter at the LAPD Central Division. After 4 hours of intense questioning and confronted with overwhelming evidence of his involvement, Carter's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. In exchange for consideration in charging, he provided a detailed confession about his relationship with Monique Green and their involvement in Terry's murder. Carter revealed that Monique had first approached him about killing Terry in April 2010 during a late-night meeting at the Velvet Lounge. She had outlined her plans to collect on Terry's life insurance policy, complaining about feeling trapped in a marriage that couldn't support her desired lifestyle. The $100,000 insurance payout, she argued, would provide them capital to expand the Velvet Lounge and start a new life together. The $2,000 transfer, Carter explained, was Monique's way of ensuring his complicity in the scheme. Carter claimed he initially didn't take her seriously, but when she transferred the money, he realized the gravity of her intentions. Carter also revealed that he had attempted to distance himself from the plot but feared Monique would expose his involvement in other illegal activities if he refused to cooperate. This testimony provided investigators with crucial insight into the dynamics of their relationship and the premeditated nature of the crime. Forensic examination of Monique's Mercedes-Benz conducted after Carter's confession yielded additional physical evidence. Under the passenger seat, investigators discovered latex gloves and a small plastic container with traces of ricin. The FBI's laboratory in Quantico confirmed that the ricin's chemical signature matched the toxin found in Terry's system. When confronted with this mounting evidence during a formal interview, Monique's behavior shifted dramatically. Her previously composed demeanor gave way to increasingly erratic responses. She attempted to deflect blame onto Carter, claiming he had orchestrated the entire plot and threatened to expose compromising information about her past if she didn't cooperate. However, her story contradicted the physical evidence and witness testimonies. Further investigation exposed Monique's pattern of deception. Interviews with her former modeling colleagues revealed she had fabricated much of her claimed career success. Her stated knee injury, supposedly ending her modeling career, was revealed to be a cover story for being dropped by her agency due to unprofessional behavior and substance abuse issues. The investigation also uncovered evidence that Monique had attempted to establish an alibi by creating a false paper trail. She had convinced a boutique employee in Beverly Hills to claim she was shopping there during the time of the murder, promising a share of the insurance money in exchange for the false testimony. Facing potential criminal charges, the employee later cooperated with investigators. Carter's attorney negotiated a plea deal in exchange for his client's full cooperation. His testimony provided investigators with detailed information about Monique's planning and execution of the murder, including recordings of conversations where she discussed various methods of killing Terry before settling on poison as the least detectable option. Detective Harris's investigation revealed an even more sinister layer to Monique's plan. Text messages recovered from a hidden phone showed she had been planning to eliminate Carter after collecting the insurance payout, ensuring she would be the sole beneficiary of the scheme and eliminating any possibility of blackmail. The trial of Monique Green and Darius Carter began on January 10, 2011, at the Los Angeles County Superior Court. Assistant District Attorney Leona Miller led the prosecution, presenting a methodically constructed case that demonstrated the calculated nature of Terry Green's murder. The trial, lasting 3 weeks, drew significant media attention with national news outlets covering the proceedings daily. The prosecution's opening statement outlined a premeditated murder plot motivated by greed and deception. Miller presented a timeline starting with Monique's careful groundwork: the insurance policy purchase, acquisition of rice and materials, and coordination with Carter. Bank records demonstrated a pattern of financial manipulation, including the strategic $2,000 payment to Carter and multiple cash withdrawals designed to avoid detection. Jasmine Taylor's testimony proved particularly impactful during the trial. She provided a detailed account of Monique's unusual behavior in the pizzeria's kitchen on the day of the murder. Her testimony, supported by security footage showing Monique's suspicious movements near the prep station, visibly affected the jury. The court fell silent as Taylor described Terry's final moments and his optimistic plans for the business's future. Forensic evidence formed the cornerstone of the prosecution's case. FBI toxicologist Dr. Sarah Stanford presented detailed analysis of the ricin found in Terry's system, Monique's car, and the pizzeria's prep station. Dr. Stanford explained how the poison was specifically prepared and dosed to ensure a delayed but lethal effect, demonstrating the killer's careful planning. The defense strategies for the two defendants created a courtroom dynamic of mutual accusation. Monique's attorney, James Richardson, portrayed her as a victim of Carter's manipulation, claiming he had coerced her into the plot through threats of exposing compromising information about her past. Carter's defense team, led by Michael Brooks, countered by presenting Carter as an unwitting participant in Monique's scheme. Digital evidence proved particularly damaging to Monique's defense. Computer forensics expert Timothy Wong testified about deleted searches on Monique's laptop regarding ricin extraction and lethal dosages. Cell phone records revealed extensive communication between the defendants, contradicting their claims of minimal contact. On January 25, the prosecution revealed its strongest evidence: text messages recovered from a second phone found in Monique's safety deposit box. These messages, exchanged with an unidentified contact, detailed plans to eliminate Carter after collecting the insurance money. The messages clearly showed her intention to remove all loose ends once the insurance payout was secured. The jury deliberated for 48 hours before delivering their verdict. Monique Green was found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted murder relating to her plans for Carter. She received life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 25 years for the conspiracy charges. Carter, having cooperated with prosecutors and testified against Monique, received a reduced sentence of 20 years for conspiracy and accessory to murder. His testimony about Monique's elaborate planning and manipulation proved crucial in securing her conviction. The court also ordered both defendants to pay restitution to Terry's estate. The discovery of Monique's plan to murder Carter led to additional charges. The text messages revealed a broader conspiracy involving an unknown accomplice, prompting an ongoing investigation. The prosecution suggested that Monique's ultimate goal had been to eliminate all witnesses and claim both the insurance money and Carter's nightclub business. During sentencing, Judge Richard Martinez described the murder as a calculated act of evil motivated by greed and callous disregard for human life. He particularly noted the betrayal of trust involved in using Terry's own passion, his pizzeria, as the murder weapon. The judge commended Detective Harris and the prosecution team for their thorough investigation and presentation of evidence. The case of Terry Green's murder serves as a chilling reminder of how greed and deception can destroy lives. What began as a simple American success story, an immigrant's son building his dream through hard work and dedication, ended in a calculated murder that shocked Los Angeles. The case also highlighted the exceptional investigative work of Detective Harris and her team, whose attention to detail uncovered the truth behind what initially appeared to be a natural death. If you've been captivated by this true crime story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more compelling cases from our archive. Share your thoughts in the comments below about what you think about this case and the justice served.